You can broadcast up to 8 hours. This is crazy. We're live. Oh my gosh. It is Galentine's Day and we are doing the thing. I'm going to try to get me situated. Not full screen. I really hate that I can't just let me see. How do I do the thing? Oh, this is crazy. I've never done this before. So this is new for me. But hey, how's it going, y'all? I'm gonna try to see if I can split the screen so I can put this on Patreon because that's the point. Show me where to find the link. Okay. Oh, it's in links. Okay, let's see what we can do here. Links. There we go. Okay. Do I need to be embedded? I don't think I do. I think I just need this one. Bear with me. If you're watching this in the replay, you could just skip all this. Oh, I'm doing the URL. Okay. Cool. Okay, Galentine's gathering. It's all happening! Exclamation points! Let's talk about the powers of the divine feminine. If I were my friend Kara, I would have typed that like 12 times faster. You know how you just have some of those friends that just like are so good at typing and you're like, how are you doing this? Who even are you? Oh my gosh. Let's see. Do I need to put anything else? Divine feminine. Yeah, we could do that. Let's do that. Who can see this post? Let's make it public at 11:59 a.m. Schedule it for schedule it for today. Today. Yeah. Schedule it for 12:04 p.m. Do it. 5 minutes into the future. All right. As y'all know, I am learning. Let's see. Let's do 8. Schedule. Okay. You're all set. It's all happening. Okay. Let's hope that that does the trick. This is so funny. Wow. I've never done this before. Okay. Goodbye that thing and hello this thing. Okay. Let's do this. I'm so excited to be starting these Galentine's Day gatherings. I would like to be doing this, just so y'all know, for future reference. I would like to be doing this every single 14th day of the month because we shouldn't just be having Valentine's or Galentines one time out of the year, a time to specifically appreciate the love energy that is coursing through and in and around and of us. It's really painful to think about how people think this is a day for love and to like the day to show people love, when it's really such like a capitalistic effort to just make more like holidays are great ways to make money for many corporations. And I'm sure that y'all, you know, are pretty familiar with this. Showing you the real behind the scenes. I'm wearing a dress and sweatpants, because that's how we do it on Galentines. Gals don't give a shit about being dressed up and looking nice for their lovers or whatever. We're just doing us, looking cute for our damn selves, clapping for our damn selves, right? So let's talk about the power of the divine feminine. And because no one has joined me on this live, which is totally fine and understandable and pretty expected because it's the very first of its kind that I'm doing. Let's see if I can get myself more comfortable. This is lucky. Y'all are seeing what's up on my bed. I used to sleep in a regular bed, and now I actually sleep on the floor because I wanted to see if it would be better for my back. I've had back issues since I was like young, and most of them went away when I went vegan, but I still had a couple of things that would like. So I got my upper cervical adjusted. And that night I was like, I'm just gonna sleep on the floor because I want to be able to let my body relax 100% and just really enjoy like the sleep that is like the heaviest. You can't really sleep heavy in a thing that's made out of springs, because then your body never knows if it's done, if it can like relax or not. Your muscles stay tense when the thing that you're sleeping on is not tense or firm. It's not really sure if it's kind of like that sensation of falling that you have sometimes when you like wake up out of sleep or wake up out of a dream and your body's like, I'm falling. But it's really just like the sensation of like still moving, even though you're trying to rest your body completely. And your muscles really want to be able to rest too, but until your bones are like completely like weighted into the ground and they're like not going anywhere, they can like rest completely, then your muscles can rest completely. So that's just a little. I used to sleep in this bed and now I don't anymore. I just keep all of the bed things on it. This is my friend Lucky. I've had him since I was 7, and it's the only stuffed animal that my little Georgie boy is not allowed to love on or to kiss. To kiss, we call it whenever he does like. That's what he does. He kind of like flea bites. He does the flea bites. So this is the only one that he's not allowed to touch because this is my original baby. Let me get myself comfortable. And I encourage you to get yourself comfortable too, wherever you're at. I'm guessing that, if you're watching this in the replay, which you definitely are because there's nobody else here, you're probably a little bit on the relaxed side. And I hope that you make yourself completely comfortable so that we can like really truly enjoy this time in this space together. Let's see if I can get this a little closer. So this is my first time. You're seeing all the hairy armpits and everything. Okay. And my crotch. You know what? I'm just going to like let it be today because I fucking deserve it. Like, I fucking deserve it. You fucking deserve it. Like, just chill out. Let's just chill out. This is the kind of gathering that I want to start doing every 14th of the month, every single month, because, thank you, Lucky, for letting me rest my head on you. Because in the era of the divine masculine, which we're just coming out of, we were always going, we were always doing, we were always just like running and attacking and delivering and all of these things that are like super like dynamic action oriented type of things. And the time where we started to realize like, oh, we're shifting out of that was, the past couple of years when self-care and self-love started to become a more emphasized area, a more vocalized topic, as well as an aspect of daily life that we recognize we've been missing, that we recognize we have not been investing enough time in. And this is like total like self-loving right now, is just like relaxing in bed and chilling and gathering together in celebration of taking care of ourselves and taking care of our bodies. So I thought, what better place to do it than on this bed and to just kind of like chill with y'all. So thank you for joining me. Thank you so much for letting me kind of get my shit together, since this is my first time doing this and it'll only get better from here. Now we're in the era of the divine feminine, and the powers of the feminine very much look like this. They look like restoration, they look like relaxation, they look like this too. There used to be something, I don't remember what culture this was that did this. Like, I remember hearing about it, but I don't remember where I heard it from. And it's basically like, whenever the women in a community would begin menstruating, because you sync up, like you all start menstruating at the same time, and you all start ovulating around the same time. Like it's all like a thing that would bring women together. So there would be like a red tent that all the women would go to separate themselves from everybody else and just sit and be. And this whole like sitting and being right now feels so good. Yet, women especially have been forced into playing this game, like playing the role of the masculine. They've had to operate without sensitivity, without regeneration, without rest, and they've had to operate in the rules that the role of the masculine, kind of structured for our whole society. And now it's amazing that we like get this time to transition into the era of the divine feminine, where rest is becoming more important, where we're starting to realize that the 9 to 5 isn't fucking working anymore. And it's also interesting how I was talking in a video that I'm going to be posting later on, maybe this weekend or something. I was talking in the video about how I didn't really realize what was going on with my body when I started to have more regular herpes outbreaks, when I started to experience the symptoms more regularly. And it was because the symptoms that I had been taught were all the men's symptoms. It was like herpes is like genital warts and bumps. It's like blisters. It's like pussy breaking open, whatever itchy shit. And it's like, for me, I wasn't experiencing that. I was experiencing like right before I would menstruate, which has the word men in it. Isn't that so fucking funny? Like, wow, even a word that is something that only people with uteruses do has the word men in it. I'm dying right now. Wait a second. I just have to die for a second. Oh gosh. Okay. Even so I would start menstruating and you know, like right before you can kind of feel it coming, but I would start to know for certain that I was getting my period because I would start to experience like outbreaks. I would start to experience outbreak symptoms, which for me looked like whenever I would be like peeing and I would, you know, wipe myself on the toilet tissue, I would see a tiny speck of red. And I was like, that's blood, obviously, because what else would be red coming from my body? And at first I like ignored it because I was like, I don't know, maybe it's just some kind of anomaly. And then I realized like it was happening before my period, and I was like, but it's not blood from my period because that shit looks way different. This was like this red, as opposed to like, this is period blood red. This was the red that it was just like a little speck. And I realized it was happening before I got my period each time. And so the symptoms that I had, you know, learned, like this was after I had been diagnosed with herpes, and I didn't believe it. I was still in denial. So keeping track of these symptoms, keeping track of what was happening with my body, I honestly like made up like a bunch of other like combined excuses for why it was happening. And it made sense because I actually had been for several months wearing thongs right before I got my period. So I just kept thinking like it's some kind of rubbing. My immune system is low because I'm about to get my period. It's a bunch of things combined. Let me just stop wearing thongs around the time. And it didn't go away because of the thongs. It didn't go away because of that. So I was like, oh fuck, maybe I do have herpes. And when I looked it up, it was amazing because it was like the symptoms just for women of like, it happens right before your period. It is a tiny little lesion, maybe on your perineum, that opens up, and you might be experiencing a little bit of itching between your vulva and your labia. And that's what I was getting. And I was like, this is amazing how like, you know, we only knew men's symptoms, and because those were the only symptoms of herpes that I was aware of, had been in disbelief until that moment. And it really caused me to recognize like, maybe before this time, like maybe before I'm menstruating and maybe while I'm, you know, having my period, I need to be resting more. Like I need to be taking it easier, because another thing that causes outbreaks for people with herpes is stress. And I was stressed the majority of the time. You know, the last maybe year and a half, 2 years, that I was like still not willing to recognize that I had herpes. I was super stressed. Like I had a job that just would not let me quit, would not let me, you know, not let me quit, like leave the job, but not let me take a moment to myself. I had to work, you know, X number of hours, and I ended up, you know, it was a volunteer program. It was a volunteer job. So I ended up the second year getting being in like the top 10 highest hours earners, because I was like traveling way down to Homestead. I was working in Miami and I was traveling way down to Homestead. And if you know anything about like the South Florida area, it's like here's West Palm, here's Fort Lauderdale, here's Miami, here's Homestead. Homestead is like way out there, and there's like nothing. There's like nothing out there. So I was traveling out there because I was painting murals, and it was like part of like a huge project that just did not get finished in time. So I had to keep going back to finally finish it. Anyway, I was like working all these hours, and even though like I was traveling to Homestead to do that, I was actually working a little north of I was like working in like the northernmost school in Miami. So I was like making a lot of, I was traveling a whole fucking lot, and it was very stressful. The whole job itself was very stressful, and it was causing a lot of outbreaks. And it was causing me to wish that I could do more than just sit in bed and Netflix and chill on the weekends. Like, I wish that I could have actually taken the time to care for myself. And that is the power of the divine feminine. The power of the divine feminine is going inside and really looking at the things that are unseen. You know, rest and revitalization are a big part of the divine feminine energy. And it's interesting because rest typically happens when you're asleep, and sleeping usually happens in the dark. When you are revitalizing, you are putting back in life force energy by using as little life force as possible to allow your body to completely relax and do all of the jobs that it cannot do, that it is not capable of doing fully and doing well and healing you. Doing all of those jobs need to be done while you are in a state of rest and relaxation. That's why there are so many people who fast, who do fasting, because when you are just giving water to your body instead of sending food down in there, food needs that dynamic, active, pushing, moving, like attentive energy, right? That's like the masculine. That's like all of this like movement energy. When you're sending water down there, your body doesn't have to do any of that. Your digestive system gets a major break. And while it may feel a little difficult the first like 2 or 3 days, because there are so many things that are like leaving your body, afterward you just feel amazing because your digestive system is huge. Like, have you ever seen I don't know if you guys did this in like elementary or middle or high school, but in middle school we would have I would come out of class and I would see like drawings of digestive tracts out on the pavement in chalk. Like, they would take, I went to a very creative middle school, and I guess the like biology classes would come out, and when they were learning about the digestive system, they would measure out how long our digestive tract is, how fucking long it is, and fucking huge it is. And that's like, I don't know if it included like the stomach and like pancreas and liver and all of that, or if it was just like the large and small intestines, like just that part. But the whole digestive system and all of the organs that pull energy and extract toxins from your digestion all take up a lot of energy. And when you're in a constant state of using energy, you're going to feel tired. You're going to feel like you need a fucking nap. And instead what we do is we drink coffee, or instead what we do is like, you know, grab a Red Bull or grab some chocolate or do whatever the fuck we can to continue pushing forward. So that's why, you know, I think a lot of healing modalities are becoming more well known at this time, now that the divine feminine is becoming more accessible and more in flow with like the entire world's natural energy. And I think also it's why fasting has become such like a huge trend like as of late, because part of the power of the divine feminine is letting go and releasing and just completely, like I was saying, like sinking in so that the bones are still enough that the muscles and all of the other things that require active tension energy get to soften and relax. The power of the divine feminine is in the surrendering, is in the softening. And I'm really hoping that as we continue and as we, you know, evolve as like a human species, that we get to take all of the men with us. We get to take all of those who identify with, you know, like masculine energy with us, because they need some rest too. They need to be able not to just like go and be alert and active and, you know, anticipating. They need to be able to release concern, release fear and anxiety about all of the things that are dark, that are on the inside. Oh, that was something else that I was trying to get at earlier, is that, you know, part of revitalizing and getting your energy back and getting your life force back is in resting all of the things that are on the inside of you. So, like, you can't rest your heart, you can't rest your lungs. You can through meditation and through slow breathing. And that also requires you to stop and relax. But when you relax and release tension and a focus of energy on all the things that are inside of you, you finally get the chance to you finally get the chance to heal, not just your actual physical things, but all of the things that you keep on the inside, all of the things that exist in the dark that we keep in dark spaces, because we don't really have time to look at them. That is what the masculine energy does when it is at high levels, at such high levels that it becomes toxic. So toxic masculinity looks like hiding from all of the dark aspects of ourselves and of, you know, what we consider in society to be taboo or stigmatized. We hide all of those things away for a rainy day, and yet when we have those rainy days, when we have those moments that are intended to force us, to push us into places where we are allowed to, and we actually feel encouraged to, you know, access our feminine energy, our restorative, regenerative energy, we still don't. We still just Netflix and chill. We still just find other things that have been you've been meaning to do. We find those things, and we have like a cleaning day, or we have like a reading day. I've been meaning to sit and read. I've been meaning to do this. I've been meaning to do that. And finally, I have a reason not to go outside and be like doing. I have a reason to be doing inside, indoors. And what we really need to be doing is what's indoors, inside of ourselves. That's where the power of the divine feminine really resides, is in the dark spaces, which is why, like the sun is attributed to masculine energy, father sun, father sky, and Mama Earth is dark and rich and, underneath the surface, underneath everything else, as well as the moon. We think that the opposite of the sun is the moon. It's like they're completely compatible, and they're like they interact with each other quite a lot. And also, their energies are like yin and yang. Their energies are meant to balance each other. However, the feminine energy, which is the moon, comes out at nighttime, in the dark, in spaces where we might feel fear. I think that's one of like the greatest fears that people have besides death, is a fear of the dark. And it really goes to show how accustomed we are to avoiding the dark and avoiding the feminine energies that actually allow us to, reside more fully in our bodies. And I mean that in a sense of like, we use our bodies and we utilize different parts of our bodies to, activate, doing energies and get things done. However, we don't really often take time to just sit and be in the dark spaces, sit in the unknowing, in the places where light hasn't touched it, and consider those to be worthy of our attention, worthy of our time, worthy of residing in. We kind of avoid the dark. We avoid feminine energy. We avoid it because, there's been this attack on sensitivity. There's been this attack on things that are unknown. That's why we're living in a situation in the United States, at least. We're living in a situation where education and healthcare, two things that are highly associated with feminine energy, which is healing, healing, as well as nurturing, as well as, bringing to light sensuality and bringing to light. And I say this because I think about how, in our public health education, we're not talking about sex. We're not talking about the things that have to do with our bodies that are really important. We're not talking about a lot of educational aspects that are really important, including history, including, the real history of Columbus coming to the Americas, and the real history of, the Americans who are native to this land. We're not talking about the real history behind things. We put those in the dark. We put those in, you know, like the cupboard, and we close them up, and we've, you know, discarded them because they weren't telling the story of like heroic men coming to, you know, like pave the way and, you know, create streets lined with gold and shiny and bright and all of the things associated with yang energy. Is it the yang that's, yeah, I think it's yin that's the feminine. Anyway, we've put so many things in the dark in our education system, and we've put so many things in the dark in our healthcare system, as well as we've taken funds away from those spaces. And I feel that it's the duty of the divine feminine era to explore new ways to fix that fucking problem. Fix that fucking problem. No Bob the Builder required. We don't need no Bobs to rebuild this. We need, what's her name? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We need Elizabeth Warren. We need, you know, all of the women who are out there fucking doing the thing and getting the message heard, getting the message out there that like the fixing needs to come from the dark spaces. The fixing needs to come from the power of the divine feminine that resides in and is that lives in the darkness and that lives in the dark spaces. And it's wonderful to talk about this on Galentine's because you know, I actually got the idea to do this from a time when I was working a lot, and it was my very first year in the volunteer organization that I created with a friend a group that was like a vegan, vegetarian, kind of like a club. But it really like shrank down to just like these 5 or 6 women who always got together. We just made food, we smoked weed, and we just like enjoyed ourselves. We did yoga together. Like we just did all of the things that you don't think of doing when you think of like doing with friends. When you think of like doing with friends, when you think of like hanging out with friends, you really think about like going somewhere to participate in an activity. And instead, the activity that we were doing was like sitting on the couch, enjoying each other's company, and really appreciating the relaxation and restoration that we got from it, especially in the middle of, you know, being a part of like, you know, trying to reach 1,700 hours in 10 months of fucking volunteer work. Like it was so much. It was so much. And it was so great to get together as gal pals and, you know, encourage each other to just chill the fuck out. So it was on Valentine's Day, this day, several years ago, that my neck is starting to hurt me because I'm sitting at a weird angle. Hello, butt. I'm gonna do a little bit of shifting here. Okay. It was on this day. Ah! Okay, am I still live? Oh shit, my video's off. Let's see if I can get this working again. There we go. Okay. We did it. Yay! Sorry. Of course, like movement on a bed means that there is going to be like a recoil, like a an equal and opposite reaction. Anyway, um several years ago today, my gal pals and I decided to drive up to northern Florida and hang out in a city where there's like a ton of vegan food. That's where my sister used to live in Gainesville. And they just like have a bunch of wonderful vegan vegetarian options there. Um, the weather was really nice. We had a place to stay because my sister lived there. So we all like did a weekend trip for free because we just like drove there and stayed, at a house that we didn't have to pay for where we were staying. And we spent Valentine's Day as Galentines, hanging out as women who support each other. And we just completely used all of our active energy in acquiring food, doing yoga, going out dancing. Like, it really was just like a time for us to not um to not like think so much, to not really put so much stress on ourselves and on our bodies and on our minds and on our hearts, because doing that work was also really just like fucking it tugged at our heartstrings. It really pulled at our insides. And our insides, our heart, our, digestive system from like living on food stamps during that time, like everything was putting in a lot of work and not getting a lot of rest. So we took that weekend to enjoy a Galentine's Day adventure. And what's amazing is one of my friends who had gone with me, she reached out to me a couple of weeks ago and was like, I still look at that time as the best weekend that I've ever had. And that is the last time that I have spent time, like really relaxing and really restoring my energy. She had gone from the same program that I was in to another program that was equally stressful and also in schools. So of course, like working in public education is just a fucking drag for a lot of people, like most people. Um, and then she started working at a pre-K and or with kindergarten. And so she's still in the school system, and she's had to like pick up several other jobs and like, Airbnb a room in her place to make money so that she, can actually have enough money that when she does have a weekend to herself and she doesn't have other obligations and things to do, she has the funds to spend on herself, to treat herself. And she was like, I would love to do that again. Like, I would love to just, like have another time where like there's nothing else that needs to be done other than restore that divine feminine energy. And that is one of the most powerful things, is not realizing how much it meant to someone who doesn't, get to practice self-care and doesn't get to practice, put her self-love rituals into a daily practice. You don't realize how much it means to someone until they actually tell you and they're like, that was one of the most influential and just wonderful times that that she's freaking had for years, for fucking years. And that was a couple of years ago. So like that means that she still hasn't had that time to herself. That means that there are a lot of people out there who are not getting this time. Who are not getting the time that they need to balance their energies. And that is where the power of divine feminine comes in. I just love that like sensitivity is becoming seen as a strength. Sensitivity is becoming acknowledged as a a valid resource, not just something that saps you of, you know, your energy source. Because we feel that being sensitive, um, and I think this is true, being sensitive really requires a lot from you. It requires a lot of feeling. It requires compassion. It requires you to notice things and pay attention to things. It requires you to invest your energy in emotional output. And the reason that sensitivity got smothered in the era of the divine masculine, or even, you know, in the absence of the divinity in it, and the straying toward the toxicity, the reason that sensitivity became such like a nuisance and something that was avoided and numbed out was because when you have to deal with emotions, you're dealing with something that can't be seen, that can only come from inside. And again, it's dark spaces. It's dark spaces that you can't actually see on the outside. You can't actually like look and feel, you know, like you can see on somebody in the expression or in the body language of somebody's face or their body that they're experiencing sadness, or they're experiencing anxiety, or they're experiencing joy, or they're experiencing anger. You can see those to a certain degree when people aren't hiding them. However, we're not really paying attention to that kind of shit because we're going through our own shit, first of all. Second of all, people are hiding it. People are trained and taught and conditioned to hide their emotions and to hide their emotional sensitivity because it takes up space, it takes up time. And if we can't immediately see what's wrong, and we can't immediately like you know, like I always use like the broken bone sticking out of the arm scenario of like, if you see it, you can see the blood, you see the bone, you see the pain. Like you can see something that produces the pain. You can see something like when somebody has like fucking, I don't know, candy. You can see what's producing the joy. You can see what's producing the differentiation in someone's energy levels and emotional output. When you can't see it, when it's dark and it's on the inside and it's hidden, that is when we have the most difficulty fucking dealing with it, right? Because it's confusing. It's confusing for a lot of people to try and address something that like, well, it's not in my face. So good luck. Good luck dealing with that. It's not mine. It's not mine to deal with. And I don't, because I don't see it, because you can't like take it out and give it to me and show me what you're seeing. It's got to stay in the dark. I'm sorry. You gotta wrap it back up. You gotta close it back up. You gotta keep it closed. You gotta put it away. You know, like that's what the toxic masculine energy has been teaching us for the longest time. And that's why it's so brilliant that sensitivity is coming back, because it really is um it really is fucking toxic, like a buildup of poison that we're just then spitting on other people because we haven't flushed it out of ourselves. It's a buildup of toxins and poison that we can't actually like do anything about without addressing it and without taking the time to sit, relax our bodies, to tap into our minds, to tap into our dark spaces, and go inside where, you know, we haven't been exploring before, where we haven't been investing the resources that we have. Yeah. And it's fucking sucked. So it's I'm just like so relieved that I get to be living in this time, because this is, I mean, I'm a Pisces. Like, I believe are our words. We're considered dreamers, which happens in the dark as well. We're the 12th house of the zodiac. We're uh, fish, so we're underwater. It's like literally all of this, like going last, putting it under, you know, unseen kind of energy, kind of resonance that I feel, that I've felt as a Piscean human. And it's just incredible to be able to create a community around sensitivity and a community around supporting sensitivity and supporting the successes and struggles that we experience as women slash femmes slash divine feminine beings. And one day I will open up this space and this community to men and to you know, masculine energies. However, I think the divine feminine really deserves all the love and attention that it's getting right now, and that it's going to continue to getting more of. Like, it's extremely empowering. Like, you can see it on my face. Like, even when I'm just like, oh, I'm just like thinking about it, it really feels right. Well, I feel like I've talked a whole bunch about the power of the divine feminine, and as much as I would have loved to have had you all here with me live, I know that when you watch this, you too will feel just like totally inspired and totally empowered. And I hope that you share your experiences with not only toxic masculinity, but with the power that you feel in harnessing your sensitive nature, in harnessing relaxation and restorative energy. I hope that you will share with me and share with the community all of your experiences surrounding the divine feminine and what you've been realizing over the past, you know, 3 to 5 years that we've, you know, been transitioning into this self-love, self-care movement, because I'd really like to know, you know, how they all connect and how the web all ties together. So I'm going to sign off. I'm gonna go hang out with my grandma. She's my Galentine for today. Her and her little dog Franny are my Galentines. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna go hang out with them. We're gonna make some soup. We're gonna hang out. I might like head over to the Publix that's by her where like this cute guy works. Then I might go flirt with him, get a little bit of that, V-Day energy out of my system. Um, but I hope y'all have a wonderful, beautiful rest of your day and that you know that you're deserving of all the love you desire. Join me next 14th of March, the next time that we hold a Galentine's. It's going to happen again. If you have a suggestion for the time of day that I should live stream that would work for you, that you could join the gathering, please also let me know that too, because I would really like for this to be like I said, a community experience that we all get together. We all get together and we all get to experience the power of this love flow all at once. Mwah. Love you. Here I go. Here goes me.